Welcome everybody to my new webcast from essentially from the team of Coding Freaks DE. Um, for everybody who doesn't know what it is, Coding Freaks is a blog. It's written in German, and this webcast actually is the first one I will make in English because my stats in YouTube showed me that it would be reasonable to do it in English instead of in German. So let's see if my hits go up or not. Um, what are we talking about? I'm actually, at the moment, I'm very busy in mobile development, and I'm doing it maybe a little bit different than most of the people showing some stuff on the internet. I'm doing it in professional um, background, so to speak, and that's why I wanted to show some things we do at Coding Freaks within our projects, which means we are not only showing Xamarin Studio, but we will show Xamarin included into Visual Studio 2012. And we will show something not only on Windows, but also on the Mac. I will switch later on to the Mac, and I'll show you some stuff, how to connect to Team Foundation server, um, uh, what to what to be aware of when you work in Eclipse, maybe some interesting point. Also, I will touch a very interesting thing. I think it's about portable class libraries in Visual Studio, and that's the thing I will start with, and that's why I switch over to my VS. Here it is. You see, I like the light theme. It's in Visual Studio 2012 Ultimate, and I just prepared it a little bit. I created an empty solution PCL sample, and I will start up with one thing. It's when I create new project, it's this portable class library thing. For those people of you who don't know what it is, portable class library means when I just give it a name, sample logic, let's say sample logic. Okay. So the first thing is that it's not giving you a new library project, but it's asking you for which target frameworks do you want to create this library, which means if I hit MonoTouch 2, you see here's an error. I just come to this in a moment, which means I want to create a library which is compatible with all of these target frameworks, which is impossible at the moment because I selected Windows Phone 7 here, which isn't suitable at the moment. You have to select Windows 7.5 or higher, or even Windows Phone 8. Windows Phone 8 is only available if you download the SDK, Windows Phone 8 SDK. So, and now he's not complaining anymore. I could create this library, and if I hit OK, you see just a normal class on the left side. You see here nothing remarkable at the first moment, but if you open up references, you see it's not simple references, but it's a subset. So this project now knows that it is targeted against multiple frameworks. So that's one thing which is very, very comfortable for us, and when we develop with Xamarin, because we can put in our logic elements like central logic for converting things, for calculating stuff, things like that. We can put that into this project, and it'll be shared throughout all the layers. I just show what I mean. Just rename this to sample util. Yes, rename it please, and let's say it's static, and just public static string foo, just something, a property, let's say, and it's read only, and it will just return datetime now to string. What is interesting, if you look at datetime now, you see, normally you get some methods like to short date string or something like that. You see it's not included here because it's not part of the subset, so those extension methods are not supported in all target frameworks, and so we just see those things which are supported on all frameworks we selected. Okay, I have resharper. Let's just make it a little bit nice. For all of you who don't know what resharper is, it's this. It's this menu point, and it's just a cool tool. Check it out. Okay, let's build this. Not Web Essential, just build. Build succeeded, that's okay. Now to the point I want to show is, let's create a new project from type console application, which is just a normal Windows console application. Let's call it sample console. And now what's remarkable, if I hit add reference and I go to solution, he's just saying, okay, you can include a reference to this sample logic project here. Okay, let's do it and let's prove it. Let's say I want to, just a quick look, sample util, what's the name of the class? Sample util point foo. Okay, console write line, sample util foo, console read keys, so we see something. Okay, and just make it to my startup project here, where it is here, F5, and you see, okay, there's coming something. Okay, that's just to prove that it is working with a normal Windows console, the sample logic. Now we add a different project. Let's go to Windows Phone, say Windows Phone app. Okay, phone app. I'll take 8.8.0, and now I close that. I add a reference to my phone application, and I'm saying just search the solution, sample console, no, sample logic, yes. Hit OK, he's taking it as a reference, that's cool. And now I could just use it, let's say somewhere here, is sample util dot foo. I guess if I had it, it should work. If I go set this as startup project just to prove it, just take the emulator, just wait a second. Oh, I don't have permission. Just, oh yeah, he's coming. Okay. Not good. You have to believe me that it's working, because the compiler doesn't complain if I build. He's taking the code, and if I set up my Visual Studio right, sorry for that, it would work. Okay, and the last sample is add new project, and now comes Xamarin into play. Xamarin is extending my project template tree here. For example, I can create iOS apps. I just installed MonoTouch, not the version for Android. So just iOS is shown here, and I go to iPhone, for example, anti-project, and I say iOS whatever, and now after some work I could add a reference to my sample logic, hit OK, and build it. And what you see is now, even though I have very different platforms here selected, I can use the sample logic as a central place for putting in central logic, which is very important in bigger projects. But I have to say that it's in a bit of an early stage. You have to do some crazy stuff to bring it to work. I'll show you something. I'll go to my blog, because I just wrote it down there somewhere. No, not there. you have a special folder. Go to my blog, visit it. You have a special folder in C program files, blah blah blah, and there you have to add an XML file which is named MonoTouch XML with 2 lines of XML code, and you have to do it so, because if you don't have it, you wouldn't see this option. This option wouldn't be visible. That's why you have to do some manual work at the moment. Xamarin just announced that they will support portable class libraries natively in the future. Not right now, so you have to do a little sticky stuff. So we've seen that. What I wanted to show you is a little bit more of the integration into Visual Studio. Okay, what happens here? If you install Xamarin on a Windows machine with Visual Studio, you get not only the Visual Studio integration, but you get Xamarin Studio as a single instance program too. I don't use it because I have Visual Studio and I like it, but you could start just Xamarin Studio and develop on the Windows machine like you develop on the Mac, which I will show later on. Now, if you want to build iOS or MonoTouch or whatever applications for Xamarin, the Windows PC needs an Mac build machine. So normally when you install Xamarin on the machine, on the Windows machine, he will ask you for this, and if you missed the setup, or if the Mac wasn't available at this moment or whatever, you can go to Tools Options afterwards, and you see that the option dialog is extended by one more point, Xamarin, and you see that it's showing you that it's found in Mac. It's my Mac here standing beside me. You could hit configure, so you get this window which will eventually list more Macs available in the network. Those Macs are not just simple Macs, but they have Xcode installed and they have MonoTouch installed, and so you could connect to each of them if they are ready. So that's very important. Another thing which isn't so nice at the moment is that if you open up a solution which contains minimum one MonoTouch project, it's a little bit slowing down the Visual Studio, because the Visual Studio on the Windows machine is looking for this build machine. Actually is awaking from sleep mode. When I open up the solution here on my Windows PC, it's opening my Mac, or it's coming up from sleep. And then it looks if, for example, if the installed versions of the MonoTouch framework are equal or not. And if they aren't, he just he asks me if I want to update my Windows version. So everything slows down a little bit. It's not so smooth as it could be, but it's a miracle that it works, in my opinion. So anyway, what I will do now is I just will put this solution into source control on TFS. So I just took a, a little magic shortcut, but it's online now. You see it has the check-in symbol here. And now I will switch over to my Mac machine to show you how you could gain access to this TFS project and work on the Mac. See you. Now I switched over to my Mac, and the first tool we need is something a little bit unexpected. It's Eclipse, which most people just know as a development tool, but we just use Eclipse for accessing Team Foundation Server. For doing so, we need a plugin into Eclipse, which is provided by Microsoft itself. It's called Team Foundation Server Everywhere. And you just go to help and install new software, and then you just add a specific URL which is provided by Microsoft, and the rest is done automatically, and you just get these tools which you know. It's a little bit like in the old Visual Studio 2010, the Team Explorer. It's not the new one. And now you got this view, and I access this team project collection. Is open already, and I just it's a German version, so sorry for that. I just go get latest, and it's all on the actual version. And now I've got my project on my Mac, PCL sample. Here you see the solution, and you see the iOS project with the CS project file, and it's all under Team Foundation Server control. And now the first thing you have to do is just go into this project and check out those elements which you want to work on. Because I want to work on iOS and sample logic, I just check out the complete thing. As you can see, it's a good idea to put all those projects which are related to mobile development into one solution folder and one physical folder, so that you can check out just those elements you need for mobile development. Now I check out those for work. It's not explicitly, it's checked out so that other people can work on those elements too. You see here are checked out. I have to do this because when I will open Xamarin Studio right now, there's no Team Explorer integration into Xamarin Studio, which means Xamarin Studio just acts as if those files are normal files on the file system, and thus Xamarin Studio wouldn't support just checking out automatically. Okay, now we checked out, and I close this. We go to Xamarin Studio now, and we just open up this one, and I go to the folder TFS. Here's my sample, and now most people would like to hit on the samples SLN file. That's not a good idea because this is a Visual Studio SLN file, and it includes all those projects, the Windows Phone app and the sample console, and Xamarin Studio doesn't know what to do with those projects. That's why I go to iOS and I open the CS project, go to open, and now he says, oh, in German again, it's there's a reference to an unknown project sample logic, and it will be ignored. Okay, that's why. This is because this is my CS project file here, iOS, and he just created a new iOS solution file for me, and I have to add existing project. I have to add my sample logic project, this one, manually the first time to my solution. This solution is not the same as my complete project solution, but now he knows what this reference is, because he finds it inside of its own solution. So the first thing we've learned, Xamarin Studio needs an own solution if it should be smooth to work with it, and it's creating this solution. And now we could hit build, and we just get an error because our signing identity isn't exactly what it needs to be. So I go to right and properties and bundle signing, and I think it's something like that. I don't know, ad hoc. Okay, and build it again, and now it's working, I hope. Okay, working. Now I go to the main file, for example, and I just go into and say sample util, which point, just say sample logic, sample util, and foo. So right click, he actually won't play with us, just create this one. I'll say something for that too. He's not so amused with us. Now I just made a little break. I just removed this reference, added it again, and now he knows what it is. Sample util.foo. It's just the first time when you open it on the Mac after you created it on the Windows PC. Var x equals 2, and just try to build it. And now he knows that x is string because foo is string. That's the proof that everything was okay. Now back to Eclipse. So just let's go to iOS, to the main, and go to compare with latest version, German dialogues, cool. You see, my local version is different from my server version. Everything is okay, and now I just closed Eclipse. That's not so funny. Nothing happening there if you close Eclipse, it's okay. And he will reopen the last project you just opened, but it's not so funny because of the webcast. Okay, and now to a very important point, which you have to bear in mind all the time. The Team Explorer or Team Foundation Server everywhere is not aware on changes you made in Xamarin Studio, because it's not tangled so tightly like Visual Studio and Team Explorer. And that's why you have to be careful when you check in. You have to be sure that all elements are added manually to the team project. Which means in our case, here at elements, something is missing. The new SLN file is missing. The user prefs are missing. They are not included there. And okay, that's everything for the first time. So now we checked it in, and now those files are part of the team project, and we can go to pending changes and say blah blah like it's usually, and check in, and he will do it for us. Now the cool thing about this is, if you have a team project where for example gated check-in is set up as the check-in strategy, this would even work here on the Mac. Window will come up and just ask you if you will step over it, or when you do it, the reconciling will come up after the build is finished. Everything works like on the Windows Team Explorer. That's kind of cool, and that's why we just like TFS integration, because it's more suitable for professional projects, because you have work item tracking, things like that. You see here on the bottom we have Git tools in action too, but Git is some kind of source control for like private projects for quick things, and TFS is more for teamwork, for work item tracking stuff, for quality stuff, things like that. I just wanted to show you those things, because it's kind of hard to set them up in a just private environment. Hopefully it was interesting for you, and see you. Bye.